Ini oke. Udah Mbak?
1 menit lagi, 5 second lagi. Silakan Mbak Nia.
Oke, thank you Mbak Nur. Selamat malam. Welcome everyone. Mbak Nur asked me to open this session in English, and maybe Mbak Nur will translate into bahasa.
Thank you, Mbak Nur.
Selamat malam. Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I wish every one of you in a good condition, and a warm welcome to all of you, our dearest participants, speakers, and also colleagues. My name is Fania, and I'm from Duta Wacana Christian University, Yogyakarta. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you for joining us today, and we are excited to have you all here in this room in Zoom. And this will be an opportunity, a good opportunity for us to learn from each other, and also we can grow together. Let me introduce a bit about this program. This program so-called Studi Gender Lintas Kampus, or maybe in English, Studi Gender, gender study group across universities. Is held by our consortium of PSGA, KSG, PSW, and also LPPM across universities. And we are trying to provide all the participants with gender perspective, using the variety of methods of learning and teaching, and hopefully it will be fun, it will be easy to process, it will be interesting, creative, and so on and so forth. And this activity has been part of intervention and yet collaboration between academic and NGOs, and look forward to the continuity of this program. We always need to improve our materials and experience, and we also have, this is also the benefit because we also have support from our government through the Minister of Education with Permendikbud and about PPKS, the prevention and also the handling of the sexual violence in higher education. And I would like to thank our speaker today for taking time to share their knowledge and giving a real-life example. Tonight we already have two speakers who already here. Our speakers, the first speakers is Bina Ramanand. I'm sorry if I misspelled. Bina Ramanand is from Family Frontiers, Malaysia. And the second speaker is Gokchen Durutash. I'm sorry if I misspelled. Gokchen Durutash is from Foundation for the Support of Women's Work, KEDV, from Turkey. So we have two speakers from abroad, from Malaysia and from Turkey. And today, this is the third session of our program, our whole program. And our topic for today is the economic empowerment strategies for refugee women in Turkey and the citizenship right within gender lens in Malaysia. And we are really excited and look forward to the presentation of our prominent speaker. We will be discussing the issue of refugees and citizenship right through a gender perspective, which is a crucial issue that is rarely discussed in academic forum. And yet we also have many problems with this issue. The fact, for instance, in NTB or Aceh has become a central area for refugees, which this issue is kind of far away maybe from our knowledge, or maybe we have a less encounter with refugee, but gender issue are everywhere, guys, in our in the whole aspect of our daily life. And today we will learn, maybe this is quite new for us, about women and children refugee. And speaking of refugee, I also have friends of mine. The first one, he is a queer refugee, and now he is living in Canada. And he at first he didn't want to move from Indonesia, but because, as you know, the LGBT issue is quite sensitive for us, and he got a lot of rejection, and he has no other option. Instead, leave this country, and he is now already in Canada for 5 years. And with the struggling, it's very hard for him, but I'm very happy that he find his new home. And speaking about children, is also a part of gender issue, because when we talk about children, we also talk about the power relation and power dynamics, and also intersectionality with feminism as well. And talking about refugee is talking also about the citizenship, and hopefully we can be a good citizen of Indonesia, of course, and also we can be a good netizen maybe in social media. And we also we will also have a question and answer session, guys, at the end of presentation. And also we will have a breakout room, and we have opportunity to dig deeper, having a deeper discussion and sharing session with our two prominent speakers. And if you have any question, please feel free to type the question in the chat box. If the question is in Bahasa, don't hesitate to ask, because we will help you to translate the question. And also the session will also translate into Bahasa every 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, from Mbak Nur. And enjoy the session. And now, without further ado, let's start the session. And today's session will be moderated by Mbak Nur. The screen and time is yours, Mbak. Thank you.
Terima kasih Mbak Fania yang sudah memberikan welcoming remarks kepada kita semua. Jadi salah satu intinya menyampaikan bahwa pembelajaran ini akan menarik, karena meskipun ada isu ini mungkin jarang kita dengar, jarang kita pelajari, tetapi sangat relevan dengan kehidupan kita sehari-hari, apapun dan dimanapun kita berada. So I'm going to be moderating and translating also. So it will be very fluid. We'll try to have a fluid, discussions. This way, we can learn with fun, even though, and with a little more, the more fun we find the way of learning, and I think much more we can gain insight and knowledge. So, jadi begitu ya teman-teman, saya akan memoderatori dan akan menerjemahkan selama per 3 menit, ya. Sehingga kita bisa juga efisien dengan waktu. Tapi yang ingin punya pertanyaan bisa langsung, bisa dalam bahasa Inggris langsung atau dalam bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so thank you Bina and Gochen for I've been actually introduced to Bina from colleagues of Awam. So I'm so grateful to be connected with you, Bina, and thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your incredible knowledge and experience throughout the decades of struggle in Malaysia with the minority families or stateless families in Malaysia. And thank you also to Gojen Turutas. She's always been very generous with her time and her expertise. This is Gojen's second time to be with us with this forum. So, but Gochen he's been my friend, dear friend and colleagues for more than 10 years. So I'm again very, very fortunate to be connected with such a wonderful, resourceful and inspiring people like you, Bina, and like you, Gochen. So I will start first with introductions. So first, I would like to introduce Bina. Bina, I'm going to read this in Indonesian because I don't make sure this is perfectly correct in English. So I'm just going to read it in Indonesia so that I don't have to translate it again in So that's this I'm saying about the fluidity. So sometimes some information that I thought I don't need to translate in Indonesian or in English, I would just skip it unless somebody is asking for more clarity. Thank you. So Bina Ramanand adalah pendiri FSSG, yaitu Foreign Spouses Support Group pada tahun 2009, yang tujuannya memajukan, mempromosikan, dan melindungi hak pasangan dan keluarga dalam pernikahan transnasional. Jadi dia termotivasi oleh pengalamannya sendiri yang dicap sebagai orang asing di Malaysia dan mengalami banyak sekali kendala tidak dapat diatasi saat membesarkan anak-anaknya di Malaysia terkait statusnya. Dari 5 tahun terakhir ini, Bina telah memperluas advokasi FSSG untuk memasukkan kampanye Malaysia untuk kewarganegaraan yang setara. Jadi Bina menjadi koordinator dari pembatasan utama keluarga yang tujuannya untuk mereformasi kebijakan hukum untuk memungkinkan perempuan dan laki-laki di Malaysia memberikan kewarganegaraan pada anak-anak dan pasangan mereka atas dasar kesetaraan. Berikutnya saya ingin share screen. Where is my screen? Berikutnya saya ingin share screen untuk sekedar pengantar. Ini sudah saya juga share ke teman-teman, tetapi yang tidak memiliki kesempatan untuk mereview supaya agak mudah ya kita memproses apa yang kita pelajari dari Bina hari ini. Saya ingin review sedikit. Jadi ini saya kompilasi dari berbagai sumber, jadi tidak secara khusus saya sebutkan sumbernya, tetapi ini pengetahuan umum yang nanti Bina bisa meluruskan ya. So, jadi di Malaysia terkait undang-undang kewarganegaraan ini sejak kemerdekaan pada tahun 57, siapapun yang lahir di era tersebut otomatis adalah warga negara Malaysia. Oke. Jadi mereka yang lahir antara Agustus, yaitu hari kemerdekaan Malaysia, tahun 57, hingga 1 Oktober 62, secara otomatis mendapatkan kewarganegaraan berdasarkan tempat lahir, terlepas dari kebangsaan atau kewarganegaraan orang tua mereka, tetapi kalau mereka orang tersebut lahir di antara tahun ini, 57 dan 62, otomatis menjadi warga negara Malaysia. Oke, jadi individu yang lahir sejak masa itu, salah satu orang tuanya yang negara Malaysia, mereka juga bisa menjadi warga negara Malaysia. Untuk menjadi warga negara Malaysia juga bisa melalui proses naturalisasi. Jadi setidaknya 10 tahun tinggal dan melepas kewarganegaraan asli atau sebelumnya, jadi bisa menjadi warga negara. Terus kemudian berdasarkan konstitusinya, konstitusi federal, berdasarkan adalah hukum dengan ketentuan konstitusi federal menentukan bahwa warga negara Malaysia adalah penduduk tetap atau dia lahir di Malaysia dan tidak dilahirkan sebagai warga negara lainnya. Jadi ada negara lain yang memiliki dual citizenship, jadi di Malaysia tidak berlaku di situ. Dilemanya di mana? Jadi untuk saat ini seringkali ada terjadi isu di NRD atau mungkin setara dengan Dinas Departemen Kependidikan ya, sering memberikan ketentuan informasi non-citizen atau tidak ditentukan atau belum ditentukan. Jadi informasi kalau misalnya seseorang anak lahir dengan ketentuan tertentu, Dinas Kependudukan biasanya memberikan tulisan atau keterangan undetermined atau belum ditentukan. Nah, itu akan menjadi masalah. Karena terus nanti akibatnya membuat si orang atau si anak tersebut menjadi tidak punya kewarganegaraan. Contohnya, dari mereka yang tidak berkewarganegaraan adalah anak-anak yang ditelantarkan oleh orang tua kandungnya. Anak-anak yang ibu kandungnya adalah orang asing. Jadi meskipun ayahnya orang Malaysia tapi ibunya orang asing bisa juga menjadi stateless. Terus kemudian anak-anak yang lahir sebelum pencatatan perkawinan. Jadi anak di luar nikah ya juga mengalami masalah dengan kewarganegaraan. Dan individu yang mewarisi status tanpa kewarganegaraan. Jadi otomatis ini juga kalau orang tuanya mengalami masalah atau misalnya pengungsi dengan status kewarganegaraannya atau dia bukan warga negara Malaysia tetapi tinggal di Malaysia, secara otomatis anaknya menjadi tidak punya kewarganegaraan. Untuk aspek ketimpangan gender yang akan kita diskusikan malam ini, yang kita fokus nanti terkait ketimpangan gender dalam kewarganegaraan, yaitu yang utama mungkin saya baca di sini orang yang lahir dari orang tua yang belum menikah secara otomatis mewarisi kewarganegaraan ibunya. Jadi bukan kewarganegaraan bapaknya. Jadi kalau dia bapaknya orang Malaysia tapi ibunya orang asing dan belum menikah, ketika si anak lahir, jadi otomatis dia mengikuti kewarganegaraan ibunya. Itu salah satu contoh saja di mana ketimpangan gender itu ada di hak kewarganegaraan di Malaysia. Oke, lanjutnya juga salah satu contoh ketimpangan gender lainnya, perempuan asing yang menikah dengan laki-laki warga negara Malaysia dapat mendaftar sebagai warga negara setelah tinggal di Malaysia setidaknya 2 tahun dan harus menetap. Tetapi, jadi ini 2 tahun ya, jadi kalau perempuan yang tinggal 2 tahun. Tapi kalau yang kedua ini, sebagai warga negara asing lainnya, semua negara asing, termasuk suami non-warga negara dari perempuan Malaysia, dapat menjadi warga negara Malaysia melalui naturalisasi setelah tinggal di Malaysia selama 10 tahun. Jadi ini perbedaannya tadi ya, perbedaan waktu. Jadi kalau yang perempuan adalah orang asing, dia dan yang laki-laki adalah orang Malaysia, dia perlu 2 tahun. Tetapi kalau di sebaliknya, yang laki-laki orang asing, yang perempuan adalah orang Malaysia, perlu 10 tahun. Jadi ini salah satu bentuk ketimpangan. Oke, saya kira itu saja yang bisa saya, biar nanti tidak misinformasi juga. Terkait Family Frontiers yang dilakukan oleh Bina, lembaga yang di mana Bina berada, adalah aliansi global. Jadi berharap aliansi global ini bisa meningkatkan keterlibatan dan kemitraan yang bermakna dengan komunitas tanpa kewarganegaraan dan memberikan fasilitator, ya, menjadi fasilitator dalam proses misalnya warga yang mengalami kasus-kasus kehilangan kewarganegaraan, diskriminasi gender, orang yang tanpa kewarganegaraan. Jadi tujuannya juga salah satunya adalah memajukan, terutama membantu, ya, keluarga agar tidak ada keluarga yang tertinggal atau hilang kewarganegaraan karena proses-proses atau prosedur administrasi. Family Frontiers adalah badan terdaftar yang tujuannya juga memperkuat, merupakan payung untuk kelompok dukungan pasangan asing yang dikomandani oleh Bina tadi, FSSG, ya. Jadi mengadvokasikan kesejahteraan keluarga binasional atau Malaysia, dan memobilisasi aksi untuk kampanye Malaysia untuk kewarganegaraan setara gender. Oke, demikian saja yang bisa saya sampaikan sebagai introduction di sesi ini. Jadi mari kita belajar. Topiknya mungkin agak berat, tapi saya yakin akan kita fasilitasi agar prosesnya berjalan lancar, fluid, dan yang jelas mudah dipahami. Jadi mohon partisipasinya, ya, untuk bisa aktif dan partisipatoris, ya, dalam proses diskusi malam ini. Terima kasih. Baik, Bina, demikian. Bina, that's my short intro. I hope not too long. So please, the floor and time is yours.
Thank you very much for this, Nurjanah. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to all of you here this evening on the issue that we work on. It is women's equality and the rights of women and children, something that is very important because women comprise of 50% of the population of Malaysia. As you know, we are also going to elections shortly. So this is an issue that's very hot and very current because it impacts a lot of women and children in Malaysia. It also puts women, children at high risk of statelessness. And we'll see how as we go through my slides. Allow me to present. I'm going to share my screen. Please tell me if it's not clear. Hold on. Just give me a minute. I'm going to stop this. I need to make sure that I put the sound on. So share screen, share sound. Very good. Okay, is it clear now? Can you all see?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. So today's we are going, there is someone's WhatsApp, I hear a bell keep ringing. I'm wondering whether that can be switched off. Okay, so I'm from Family Frontiers and we work on advancing and promoting the rights of Malaysian binational families, as Nurjanah just told us. What is this? These are families who are one citizen and one non-citizen. So one person is a Malaysian, and another could be like an Indonesian person who they've got married to. As we note that today, we are live in a borderless world. So there are many Malaysians who work overseas, they are studying overseas, and they get married. And so we have to ensure that when they are in Malaysia, that there are policies that are non-discriminatory and ensure that women's rights are protected and children's best interest is taken care of. So we go on to now is the case of how do we approach all of this. We thought that, you know, protecting of women's rights should come easily. We thought we should not have so much of difficulty in changing the law or reforming of the law. And so our issue that we work on currently is very specific to the citizenship of children born to Malaysian women, the overseas born children of Malaysian women do not get citizenship, although children born in Malaysia of the same parents are getting citizenship. So it's only those who are born overseas who are able to get citizenship. Now, when we embarked on this in 2018, there are three issues, as Nurjanah correctly said. The rights of Malaysian women to pass on citizenship to the overseas born children is one, where there's a gender discrimination. And there's the rights of Malaysian women to pass on citizenship to their non-citizen spouses. Now, why is this so important? Okay, because Malaysian men have been enjoying this right for the last 60 years, right? And what happens is, it is the same right is not accorded to Malaysian women. And because of this, it impacts women in transnational marriages, because women are the carers of their children. So if the marriage, so what happens to these children born overseas? They have to take on the citizenship of their foreign father. So if the marriage breaks down and the mother decides to bring her child back to Malaysia, there are a lot of difficulties. There are difficulties for mother and child to live together because the child's nationality is not Malaysian. The child's nationality can be French. Then there's difficulty in accessing schools, going to national schools. The mothers have to pay a lot of money to get their children in international school. There are issues pertaining to healthcare, and there are various intersectionalities. As we know, there are children who may have autistic problems or who need long-term treatment and they cannot get it in Malaysia. And bear in mind that that same family shall I stop, Nurjanah?
Please go. No, I think please go ahead. I think you speak wonderfully clear, so it's easy for.
I hope everyone is able to understand me. So we need to ensure that even the best interest of the children, because that's according to the CRC and the spirit of the Convention on Rights of Children, to be taken care of. So we have families who have one Malaysian child and maybe one non-Malaysian child. We have family, because one child born in Malaysia, another child born overseas. We have families whose children may be autistic. We have families whose children may and cannot get treatment in Malaysia. And sometimes they have to choose between the Malaysian child and the non-citizen child. Isn't that terrible?
Okay,
so
I think
hospitalization. Yes. Hospitalization, they have to pay foreigner rates, double charges. And we're talking here about children. And the impact is on the mother. The trauma that is faced is on the woman. You know, today borders are open, people go overseas to study, get married, people work overseas, get married and come. And Malaysia has opened up its borders as well. We have a lot of migrant workers working in Malaysia, and they can get married to Malaysians. And then what happens? We have this situation that if they go overseas and they go and meet the in-laws and have a child there, that child can be a non-citizen and can impact that child for the rest of the life. So there's also the intersectionality of when the child becomes 18 and is not a student anymore, that child is asked to leave the country. But if the child has never ever lived in Indonesia, and you're asking that child who's at 18 to leave the country, it is traumatic. And because sometimes, people are working, they can be working in a third country like the US, they go there to work, the marriage doesn't work. Many even marriages between locals don't work, right? And then, but it's your one country, they can meet together. I mean, the parents have access to the children and can co-parent easily. In binational marriages, you have that difficulty. Okay, and the rights of women need to be protected, need to be safeguarded, so we don't put them in situations of harm. So if they are married overseas and their marriage is not working, they remain in toxic marriages, in marriages that are not working, abusive marriages, open to gender-based violence, because their children do not have their citizenship, and they come to Malaysia, if they come back to Malaysia, they're going to face problems because the child has the father's nationality. In fact, those children are forced to take on the father's nationality when they are born overseas. One of the other issues that we work on is on binational family. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, thank you. Masalahnya untuk masalah ketimpangan gender atau ketidakadilan gender dalam hak kewarganegaraan di Malaysia terutama adalah peraturan yang menyatakan bahwa ada diskriminasi antara hak kewarganegaraan bagi perempuan dan laki-laki. Jadi kalau seorang yang menjadi fokus dari Family Frontiers program-programnya itu fokus untuk keluarga-keluarga binasional atau keluarga yang suami istri punya nationality atau kewarganegaraan yang berbeda. Nah, ini terutama adalah sangat problematik ketika seorang istri adalah warga negara Malaysia dan suaminya warga negara asing. Karena secara otomatis kalau mereka menikah, apalagi kalau di luar lahirnya di luar negeri, itu mengikuti anak tersebut mengikuti warga negara kewarganegaraan si ibu. Nah, yang menjadi problemnya, tetapi kalau mereka meskipun mereka lahir di luar negeri, tetapi ibunya orang Malaysia, warga negara Malaysia atau keduanya orang Malaysia, mereka menjadi warga negara, bisa mendapatkan kewarganegaraan Malaysia. Jadi itu yang menjadi fokus. Problemnya adalah banyak sekali isu-isu seperti ini, kasus-kasus ketimpangan gender yang ada di dalam isu kewarganegaraan itu punya intersection ya. Misalnya kalau kemudian si ibu yang warga negara Malaysia, terus ayahnya orang asing, tinggal di misalnya Indonesia, kemudian atau mengunjungi Indonesia dan kebetulan lahir di Indonesia, nah otomatis si anak tidak bisa mendapatkan kewarganegaraan Malaysia, dan itu menjadi problem misalnya karena mereka kalau otomatis tidak warga negara Malaysia tidak bisa mendapatkan hak-haknya sebagai warga negara Malaysia, terutama dalam hak mendapatkan akses kesehatan atau mendapatkan akses ke sekolah, karena sekolah internasional akan sangat mahal sekali. Jadi ada dari peraturan yang sepertinya sederhana ini mempunyai intersection. Jadi ada pertemuan-pertemuan dengan isu yang lainnya, intersection dengan isu-isu lainnya yang menimbulkan banyak luar biasa stres, karena pada prinsipnya si anak yang warga negara Malaysia berdasarkan yang lahir oleh atau dari perempuan yang berkewarganegaraan Malaysia, yang si orang ibu yang selalu punya kewajiban untuk selalu memperhatikan well-being atau kebutuhan anaknya, tetapi tidak bisa mewariskan kewarganegaraannya, itu sangat menimbulkan banyak sekali masalah. Jadi di era yang borderless, jadi di era sekarang ini kita yang begitu banyak sekali urusan transnasional ya, orang bisa hari ini misalnya bekerja di Indonesia, apalagi di Malaysia, kalau misalnya kemudian orang Malaysia, seorang Malaysia laki-laki terus kemudian bekerja di Malaysia dan kemudian menikah dengan warga negara Malaysia, terus kemudian kebetulan mereka berkunjung ke Indonesia dan melahirkan anak di sana misalnya, dan itu ada banyak kasus seperti itu. Nah, itu akan menjadi problem karena kan si anak kemudian tidak mendapatkan kewarganegaraan Malaysia. Atau juga misalnya peraturan mereka bisa mendapatkan kewarganegaraan setelah sampai usia 18 tahun dan bisa mengajukan. Jadi isu interseksionalitas ini yang menjadi fokus, bagaimana beratnya dampak dari peraturan kewarganegaraan yang berbasis yang timpang secara gender. Bina?
Yeah, thank you for explaining that so well, Nurjanah. So now we also focus on the reform of some of the policies and practices that discriminate Malaysian women in binational families. So this is mainly, there are about 200 to 250,000 Malaysians married to non-citizens. So some of them are still on a expat visa, some of them are on a work permit, some come on Malaysia, my second home. But at the same time, many of them have difficulties accessing permanent residence. For instance, a Malaysian man, although in paper it says that his wife can pass on citizenship 2 years after she gets PR, by the time these women get PR, they're in their 50s. And without permanent residence, at any time, the men or the Malaysian spouse can actually not go to immigration, and that person becomes they are very dependent on the Malaysian spouse for permanent residence, citizenship, even for their visas and legal status. For instance, for myself, it took about 20 years to get permanent residence. Until then, we are all dependent on our Malaysian spouses. It is not good for a woman to be dependent on her spouse. Because economically also, we need permission from our Malaysian spouse to be able to work. There are a lot of limitations of working. So when we started FSSG, we wanted to eliminate this economic dependence on Malaysian men and this disadvantage to women. And you know, Malaysia is a signatory to CEDAW. Indonesia has been very good. They actually reformed the law in 2007. Okay, but in Malaysia, there's many areas, although the law is there and it's not enforced, in practice, it keeps many women in situations of harm and violence. And that is because they are so dependent on their Malaysian spouses to be employed, for work, for their legal status. Fortunately, healthcare is at same rates as Malaysian women, but also comes a problem when they are divorced or they are widowed, they don't have the same rights. Many times, if there are no children, even after 40 years of marriage, you're asked to leave the country. Could go where? You have no support systems. That's why it's very necessary, and I hope all of you at some point of your lives will be a part of government or in positions where you can reform the law to ensure that women's rights are mainstreamed in all spheres of life. Okay, so whether it's social, whether it's economical, whether it's political, whether it's cultural, just ensure the rights of women are protected, ensure that the rights of women are mainstreamed everywhere in offices, so whichever sphere that you're working in, right? And I hope that you will take away this at least into, you know, your future. So
Thank you, Bina. Oke, so Bina sendiri terkait dengan binasional ya, keluarga yang punya dua kewarganegaraan, suami istrinya yang berbeda. Bina sendiri untuk kasusnya, jadi yang dilakukan oleh Family Frontiers adalah saat ini ada 257 pasangan yang sedang menunggu, yang ada dalam visa. Mereka kondisi statusnya bukan warga negara, tetapi sudah memiliki visa dan permit kerja, yang sebenarnya seharusnya adalah warga negara Malaysia. Bina sendiri untuk kasusnya dia perlu menunggu sampai 20 tahun untuk mendapatkan kewarganegaraan Malaysianya. Nah, di sini yang menjadi bahkan ada kasus 40 tahun, sudah 40 tahun tinggal di Malaysia karena pada akhirnya tidak bisa memenuhi ketentuan untuk mendapatkan kewarganegaraan dan harus pergi meninggalkan Malaysia. Pertanyaannya, mereka harus pergi kemana? Karena selama ini yang mereka tinggal selama 40 tahun seluruh hidupnya tinggal di Malaysia. Jadi kasus-kasus seperti ini yang menjadi constraint atau perhatian ya. Jadi yang dilakukan adalah reform. Jadi yang dilakukan oleh Family Frontiers adalah melakukan reforms untuk peraturan-peraturan yang diskriminatif. Sehingga peraturan-peraturan diskriminatif terkait kewarganegaraan ini bisa lebih memberikan kesetaraan hak yang sama antara warga negara laki-laki Malaysia maupun warga negara perempuan Malaysia, punya hak yang sama setara untuk bisa mewariskan kewarganegaraannya kepada anaknya. Jadi Bina juga berharap, jadi dalam kelompok ini semoga di suatu saat nanti ada teman-teman yang bekerja baik di pemerintahan atau dimanapun harus memperhatikan adanya isu adalah hak-hak perempuan, itu harus sangat diperhatikan. Jadi isu gender itu ada di semua lini dan semoga nanti bisa membuat isu perempuan atau gender, women's rights, itu menjadi mainstream bagi pemahaman teman-teman ketika nanti bertugas, terutama di pemerintahan atau dalam proses pembuatan kebijakan. Jadi itu yang dari 1 dari 2 atau 3 pejabat atau pejabat publik yang sadar pentingnya akan pemahaman gender akan sangat meningkatkan harkat hidup semua anggota keluarga. Jadi tidak hanya perempuan saja. Karena yang terjadi kasusnya misalnya di Malaysia adalah perempuan yang menunggu karena ada prosesnya untuk menjadi warga negara lama sekali, meskipun di situ dinyatakan ada 10 tahun, ada 2 tahun, tetapi lama sekali, tidak selalu seperti itu. Nah, dalam posisi yang belum mendapatkan kewarganegaraan, seorang perempuan akan sangat tergantung kepada pasangannya. Untuk misalnya mencari pekerjaan, misalnya dia harus mendapatkan izin dari suaminya. Jadi tidak bisa mandiri. Bagaimana kalau kemudian dalam prosesnya mereka menikah dan cerai, yang menikah itu bercerai atau berpisah, nah, itu situasinya mungkin dia harus kembali ke negaranya, dan itu akan menempatkan. Jadi hukum yang kewarganegaraan yang tidak berpihak kepada perempuan ini sangat memposisikan perempuan di posisi yang sangat rentan. Thank you, Bina.
thank you. I'm going to show you how one of our mothers actually faced this situation when she comes back to Malaysia. and she has a child who's on the autistic spectrum, the issues that she faces with. And one of our advocacy strengths is actually allowing the public to hear the experiences and the lived realities of the Malaysian women who are discriminated by the gender unequal laws. So this is really that a lot of the mothers, we ensure that they are a part of the decision-making process. We take some mothers to also to government when we are meeting government agencies, or when we are having parliament briefings. When we go for panels, we always have the mothers. And so I'm bringing to you a Malaysian mother and her story.
Hari ini saya datang ke JPN untuk buat permohonan taraf kewarganegaraan anak saya.
Selama lebih 4 tahun, Aini telah memohon kewarganegaraan untuk anaknya yang lahir di luar negara.
Alhamdulillah, permohonan saya, dokumen semua lengkap dan mereka dah terima.
Semua permohonan Aini setakat ini telah ditolak. Tanpa kewarganegaraan, anak Aini menghadapi masa depan yang tidak menentu.
Bolehkah dia duduk Malaysia lama? Sampai bila? Adakah dia kena hantar balik? Saya risau juga kan.
Semua ini kerana Aini adalah seorang wanita.
Saya harap ada keajaiban lah. Nana, saya bersalin dia di Riyadh tahun 2016. Perasaan saya yang paling happy sebab dia memang saya tunggu anak perempuan. Dah dapat lelaki, saya nak anak perempuan pula. Suami saya pun memang anak perempuan juga. Alhamdulillah lah Tuhan dengar doa kami.
Suami Aini seorang warga negara India yang bekerja di Riyadh, Arab Saudi. Mereka merancang untuk membesarkan anak-anak mereka sebagai warga negara Malaysia.
Saya memang nak mohon dia warga negara Malaysia. Abang dia pun warga negara Malaysia. Jadi saya nak yang nombor 2 pun warga negara Malaysia jugalah.
Tetapi, Aini menghadapi cabaran untuk mendapatkan kewarganegaraan untuk anaknya.
Saya pergi ke kedutaan Malaysia di Riyadh untuk memohon kewarganegaraan anak lah. Tapi pegawai konsulat beritahu saya yang permohonan dia ambil masa yang lama. Jadi anak saya sepanjang permohonan tu dia stateless.
Mengikut Undang-Undang Perlembagaan, lelaki warga negara Malaysia yang berkahwin dengan pasangan warga asing dan mempunyai anak yang lahir di luar negara, anak itu diberikan kewarganegaraan Malaysia secara automatik. Sebaliknya, wanita Malaysia yang berkahwin dengan pasangan warga asing tidak mendapat hak yang sama. Para ibu dalam situasi ini perlu memohon kewarganegaraan untuk anaknya. Namun, permohonan seperti ini jarang diluluskan. Daripada lebih 2,000 permohonan sejak tahun 2018 hingga Oktober 2021, hanya 21 permohonan telah diluluskan oleh kerajaan.
Selepas hampir 3 tahun, permohonan saya telah ditolak tanpa alasan. Dalam surat tu, tarikh lewat 10 bulan.
Apabila seorang anak itu tidak dapat kewarganegaraan ibunya, maka anak itu kadang-kadang ada anak-anak yang stateless juga, yang tidak mempunyai apa-apa kewarganegaraan. Sebab kita tahu kewarganegaraan adalah hak segala hak, ya. Dia pintu kepada hak-hak lain. Contohnya hak pendidikan, hak-hak untuk mendapatkan akses kepada kesihatan dan hak untuk tinggal di sesebuah negara, di negara Malaysia.
Nurjanah duduk belakang. Sini. Masuk. Hari ini Syahana ada appointment untuk terapi cara kerja. Macam kanak-kanak yang autism ni memang rawatan mereka bukan ubat lah, lebih kepada terapi.
Sebagai kanak-kanak istimewa, Nana perlukan rawatan berkala dan pendidikan khas. Bagi Nana, akses kepada perkhidmatan ini adalah terhad.
Macam Syahana, dia warga asing, dia susah sikit lah. Masa dia datang di Malaysia pun, dia hanya dengan visa melawat saja, turis visa. Hospital, bayaran pun ikut warga asing. Tak murah, bagi saya mahal lah.
Nana juga menghadapi cabaran untuk mendapat insurans kesihatan dan mendaftar masuk sekolah kerajaan. Nana juga perlu sentiasa memperbaharui visanya untuk menetap di Malaysia.
Bila cerita pasal anak istimewa ni, memang parents yang ada anak istimewa dia tahulah. Apalagi bila dia bukan warga negara dengan kerajaan kata susah nak bagi dia. Saya pun fikir kenapa macam anak kecil ni mereka tak beri. Sedangkan mereka anak yang hati bersih kan.
Tidak perlu kaum ibu melalui tekanan sebegini. Penyelesaiannya sangat mudah sebenarnya. Kerajaan cuma mesti mengiktiraf taraf wanita setara dengan kaum lelaki, terutamanya dari segi memberikan hak kewarganegaraan kepada anak-anak mereka. Itu saja. Pengiktirafan itu dari segi undang-undang adalah sangat penting.
Pada 18 Disember 2020, 6 ibu bersama Family Frontiers memfailkan saman untuk mencabar Undang-Undang Kewarganegaraan Malaysia yang berdiskriminasi berdasarkan jantina. Mereka memohon supaya ibu-ibu seperti Aini diberikan hak yang sama rata dengan lelaki untuk menurunkan kewarganegaraan kepada anak mereka. Kes ini bergantung kepada peruntukan dalam Perlembagaan Persekutuan yang melarang diskriminasi berdasarkan jantina.
Now, in 2001, the government enacted an amendment to the constitution which was approved unanimously by the entire house, which said that we should not entertain any discrimination on the basis of gender. You must harmonize, the interpretation should harmonize the provisions of the constitution itself. Can we find a way to allow for rights for mothers in the context of these two seemingly conflicting provisions?
Pada 9 September 2021, Mahkamah Tinggi dalam sebuah keputusan penting mengisytiharkan bahawa ibu warga negara Malaysia mempunyai hak sama rata untuk memberikan kewarganegaraan kepada anak yang lahir di luar negara secara automatik. Mahkamah juga mengarahkan pihak-pihak berkuasa untuk mengeluarkan dokumen-dokumen kewarganegaraan kepada anak-anak tersebut. Namun, Kerajaan Malaysia telah memfailkan rayuan terhadap keputusan tersebut yang akan didengar pada 23 Mac 2022. Sementara itu, proses pengeluaran sijil kewarganegaraan kepada anak-anak terkesan tertunggak walaupun permohonan Kerajaan Malaysia untuk menangguhkan pelaksanaan keputusan Mahkamah Tinggi telah ditolak. Hanya selepas kempen advokasi yang berterusan oleh para ibu terkesan dan Family Frontiers, kempen yang mendapat sokongan dalam kalangan orang ramai dan juga ahli-ahli parlimen, baru terdapat sedikit kejayaan. Pada 21 Februari 2022, 3 orang ibu berjaya mendapat kewarganegaraan untuk anak-anak lahiran luar negara mereka.
Setakat ini, hanya kami 3 ibu sahaja yang telah memperolehi kerayaan untuk anak-anak kami. Bagaimana pula dengan ibu-ibu lain yang masih menunggu?
Namun, permohonan-permohonan para ibu Malaysia yang lain masih dalam proses, termasuk permohonan Nana.
Kami tak nampak lagi apa yang akan berlaku lepas ni. Saya harap ada keajaiban lah, supaya kerajaan tarik balik lah. Tak perlu lagi kalau mahkamah dah buat keputusan, saya rasa cukuplah. Berilah kami macam ibu-ibu ni rasa tak struggle lagi lah.
Well, congratulations for your work, Bina.
Yeah, but
That's a major improvement.
hold on, let me just go back to my slide. Increase this. So where we are is, unfortunately, we did not win the case in the federal court, in the Court of Appeal. So in the Court of Appeals, we lost 2-1. We got a majority decision where the judges said that we should be going to Parliament, and that, you know, so that's where we stand. And right now we have, after that, when we lost in the Court of Appeals, it was shattering for the mothers, because up and down, we've been going to court so many times. So the government uses taxpayers' money to take us to a higher court, and we are a small organization, but where it stands, only 6 mothers were able to get citizenship for their children. The rest of them are all frozen, right? So we have appealed right now to the, we are making an appeal. We have made an application for leave to the federal court. So there, on 14th of December, there will be a hearing whether we will be allowed to go ahead with the hearing in federal court. Now, in the meantime, the judges said the right, of course, the right place for us to be looking for the reform is the Parliament. So in the meantime, 17 members of Parliament have put in a private member's bill, okay, because they said, the court said go to Parliament. So when the private members bill, 17 of them MPs put a bill to amend the constitution, the speaker rejected. He rejected the motion to pass the bill. Well, he said you have to get the consent from the Conference of Rulers first. But the government should have by now, because back in November last year, made a commitment to amend the constitution, and they had consulted the Conference of Rulers. They said they will have a committee. The committee was not yet formed, and they should have sought the consent if they were really, truly concerned about women's rights. And what is so difficult? After all, men enjoy the same rights. After all, these children can get citizenship in Malaysia. Only if they go overseas, they're not able to get citizenship. And it's only the change of one word. It is ibu, bapa atau ibu, you know, changing one word, or use the word or mother in the federal constitution, or parents, one of least. Now, women's rights, do you want me to continue? Do you want to translate?
Yes, yes. I would like to ask you for your clarification. So first, the reform was approved by the Mahkamah?
No, they said go to Parliament. Go to Parliament. So we lost in Mahkamah.
The earlier one, you said
We
that there
won.
was.
Yeah, correct.
And
so in KL High Court, we won in the Mahkamah. Then the government could have allowed that ruling to be implemented, which said the 6 Malaysian mothers and women in similar situations should be able to pass on citizenship to their overseas born children.
Okay.
But the government appealed in a higher court.
I see. And who's the government who's on this case? Which part of the government? You said, you know, the court, the high court, and the government.
Yeah. So we have the Parliament. We have which forms the government. So the majority of the Parliament will form the government, right? So they are the government, and then we have the court, which is where we access the judiciary. We access the judiciary. Yeah.
Sorry, Bina, I'm not sorry. Which department of the government that is in this case? Yeah.
So we actually put the case against the government of Malaysia on the whole. So the entire government, as well as the Home Minister and the minister, director of JPN, the National Registration Department. So they won't need.
Oh, I see. So that's that particular
The
department.
government of Malaysia was.
Okay, yeah, we have the similar. Okay,
Mhm.
so jadi ada progres sebenarnya dalam perjuangan ini, dalam perjuangan kesetaraan untuk kewarganegaraan bagi perempuan warga negara Malaysia pada tahun 2001. Jadi Bina bersama teman-temannya, bersama Aliansi Family Frontier mendapatkan putusan dari pengadilan tinggi bahwa ibu yang warga negara Malaysia mulai bisa memberikan mewariskan kewarganegaraannya kepada anak-anaknya. Tetapi keputusan dari Mahkamah Agung ini ditolak oleh pemerintah, terutama oleh Dinas Kependudukan, ya, di Registration Department. Dan mereka meminta bahwa sebaiknya minta saja ke parlemen. Jadi intinya meskipun sudah menang kasus yang didampingi oleh Bina dan kawan-kawan ini di pengadilan tinggi, tetapi ditolak oleh pemerintah, terutama dalam hal ini Kementerian Kependudukan, sehingga mereka meminta untuk dibawa ke DPR, dan ini menjadi situasi yang kembali ke nol lagi. Jadi masih banyak terus perjuangan yang harus dilakukan, dan termasuk yang kasus Ibu Nana yang ada di video tersebut itu masih juga belum mendapatkan kejelasan status. Terima kasih. Okay, Bina, go ahead. So can you go like another 5 minutes?
Yeah. Okay. So let me
And
just
then I can summarize.
Yeah. So there are only 24 countries in the world that do not allow women to pass on citizenship. As you know, that Indonesia has reformed the law, and only 2 in the ASEAN region, that's Brunei and Malaysia. And okay, so going on to the next, hold on, have one more. Oops. So this that you see here is all the activities that Malaysian mothers participate. As I said, they participate in various, they are protesting, they go for screenings, they go do public outreach. So they are there fronting the advocacy campaign. It's very, very important because the issue is about them. The stories are going out to public via the media, via videos, via our social media. The mothers are on TikTok. So it's very important always to have the impacted community at the forefront, so that their experiences are heard by the entire public, because you also want to get the public support. So here we have that women, I've already spoken to you about the women who have to face gender-based violence. They don't have autonomy over themselves. And also the children who lack access to schooling. They also have lack healthcare access at similar rates. I want to just quickly go through the next few slides. And I want to show you on the impact of children. This is a very, very short 1 minute, I think a few minutes. It's not very long video. So oops.
Halo semua, nama saya Tisaya.
Oops, sorry, just give me a minute.
Halo semua, nama saya Botiza dan saya berumur 8 tahun. Hari ini saya hendak kongsi 5 fakta yang saya alami sebagai anak kepada warga negara yang dilahirkan di luar negara. Oh ya, ibu saya adalah warga negara Malaysia, manakala papa saya bukan warga negara. Saya dilahirkan di Abu Dhabi, UAE. Fakta yang pertama. Walaupun saya adalah anak kepada warga negara Malaysia, saya tidak layak menerima pinjaman buku teks sekolah. Kedua, saya tidak layak menerima imunisasi percuma walaupun saya anak kepada warga negara Malaysia. Klinik kerajaan meminta bayaran RM300 kerana saya tiada MyKid. Ketiga, kerana tiada MyKid, saya mesti membayar mengikut fee warga asing kalau saya perlu ke klinik kesihatan atau hospital kerajaan. Keempat, setiap tahun ibu saya terpaksa melalui proses yang lebih panjang untuk mendaftarkan saya di sekolah walaupun saya adalah anak kepada warga negara. Kelima, fakta inilah yang paling menyedihkan bagi saya. Saya tidak dapat mengikuti sebarang pertandingan mewakili sekolah, terutama yang dianjurkan oleh Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri. Semua ini sebab saya tiada MyKid. Sebenarnya, ada banyak fakta lagi yang ada. There are many more unpleasant facts that I know will happen to me and children in same situation. Kenapa kerajaan tidak mau melindungi kanak-kanak seperti saya? We are children. We are not a threat to you, but you are a threat to children. Ibu saya adalah anak Malaysia. Saya juga anak Malaysia.
Okay. So we covered the strategic litigation. We just want to tell you that as a last resort, we do go to court, but also that we have to ensure that the best interest of the children are taken care of, and also ensure that women's rights are protected, because women's rights are human rights. What you can do is come on to Family Frontiers, support the Malaysian women in their fight for equal citizenship. Right now, we don't have a government. We are going through an election process. So all the mothers are writing to their MP, to the election candidates, and asking them whether they will support these the reform of these rights in Parliament, even if they do not. Although we have a court process that is ongoing, we can't just depend on one process. We use a multi-pronged approach. I want to thank all of you for being such a wonderful audience, and thank you, Nurjanah, for this opportunity. You may give them our email contact, so that if anyone wants to know more details, we'll be happy to clarify anything. So thank you so much to every one of you.
Thank you, Bina. Baik, jadi poin penting yang disampaikan Bina tadi adalah bahwa pentingnya melakukan multi-prong atau berbagai macam strategi untuk memperbaiki situasi di sini. Misalnya dengan terutama memberikan suara atau memfasilitasi komunitas yang terdampak, ibu-ibu yang menjadi orang tua dari anak-anak tersebut untuk berbicara langsung ke media. Jadi meningkatkan visibilitas mereka sebagai komunitas yang terdampak. Jadi melalui sosial media, bisa melalui protes-protes langsung, atau juga mereka banyak melakukan berbagai misalnya kampanye langsung dengan menjangkau calon, misalnya kandidat caleg misalnya. Mereka berdialog dengan mereka, menulis surat dengan mereka, apakah mereka akan memperjuangkan isu-isu hak ketimpangan gender yang ada di kewarganegaraan di Malaysia. Jadi Family Frontiers juga berharap punya teman-teman yang tertarik untuk belajar lebih lanjut atau mendukung program-program kampanye ini bisa menjangkau Bina langsung atau ke websitenya Family Frontiers. Baik, saya kira oke. Yang juga yang disampaikan oleh Bina, jadi Indonesia sejak 2007 dalam hal ini satu step lebih maju. Jadi sudah tidak lagi memberlakukan kewarganegaraan yang berbasis kepada orang tua laki-laki, tetapi juga kepada kedua orang tua. Dan dua negara di Asia Tenggara yang masih punya punya sistem seperti di Malaysia adalah Brunei dan Malaysia. Jadi punya dua negara yang saya kira punya kultur yang dan agama yang sama. Baik, saya kira itu. Unfortunately, another speaker, Gojan, she had an emergency, so she had to leave the forum. So this will give us a lot more time, and Gojan will be very happy to join us on another session. She really regretted that she has to go because of the emergency situation that she had. Okay, so jadi we already have a lot of questions here, Bina, and thank you, Bina, for this very inspiring sharing and knowledge, and lots of curiosity among the participants about what happened in Malaysia and how some of these questions. But before I go to the chat box questions, ada yang mau bicara langsung? Oke. Saya pikir ini banyak yang sudah mengacungkan tangan. Tolong sesingkat mungkin ya. Di English in Indonesia nggak masalah. Silakan. Oke, ada Roma. Oke, ada siapa lagi? Biar saya line up gitu pertanyaannya biar jadi satu. Hayu. Oke. Hayu. Oke, silakan Rohma, Mbak Rohma, silakan mulai.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Nur, for the opportunity. I would like to ask, I was exposed by the issue earlier this year, and I'm still in disbelief actually that there are children and families that are stateless in 2022. Even though they are Malaysian, they are refugees, but they are stateless. And I want to know about is there any political will from the government to actually solve this problem, or a member of the government that actually cares and want to change this regulation? And I want to see a little hope and a bright side from this. Is there any political will from them to actually change the regulation? And even though it's not solving, at least they have alternatives, so the children at least can have basic rights and special treatments and so on. Thank you.
So
that's okay, Bina, I'll go round up with the other.
Okay.
So that you can, probably they have some. Hayu, silakan.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Nur, and thank you, Bina. I was actually reading about some articles before. It's also about, I think it was about Anissa Ismail. It's a case from back then. So just as the video told us earlier, the High Court already ruling the mothers that they can pass the citizenship to the children, right? So I was actually really curious. What is the government benefited this, right? Why are they doing this besides the patriarchy and what is it that you said in the chat box? Just the gender discrimination and patriarchy. What are they actually benefited from this, right? And just like Kak Rohmah also said, yeah, I was actually curious, will government keep just refuse, saying no, or will there be progress in Malaysia? Because I'm actually really flabbergasted because Malaysia and Indonesia is actually just a neighbor, and yeah, I'm only exposed to this case now, and I'm very sorry to hear this. Yeah, thank you, Bina and Mbak Nur.
Okay. Thank you. Ada lainnya yang mau bicara langsung? Boleh, silakan.
Tadi Khairani sempat raise hand.
Bu Khairani. Okay, another questions. Maybe I'll just going to read Bina from the chat box. So what about the role of the embassy in abroad, for example, in Saudi Arabia, for example, in this case, in the case of Anna in Saudi, so her husband is an Indian man. So can they collaborate? Can they do something? Does the embassy, Malaysian embassy abroad, can do something about this? That's a questions from Maula, and this a question from Desi. So if a child doesn't still like a stateless, if a child is a stateless, what rights does he have? Does the child has? Like what kind of protection can they get or facility? Yeah, I think there's some other question is similar to like what, I mean, then what happened to the kids that are, to women that are stateless? Thank you, Bina. I think that's a lot.
Yeah,
really.
that's a lot. Thank you for these very interesting questions. I wish we had government officials who thought like you all, then this problem would not have existed. And that's why we all need more women in political power. We need more women in decision-making roles, right? Because 50% of women, the world's population is women, right? And so this is what happens. We also are, this is something that we are campaigning for women's equality, is we need more women in leadership, more women in decision-making power. So I'm going to go with the fourth question first on the stateless. What rights do the stateless children have? They actually have very little rights. Okay, if they have no documents, it's very difficult to get them into school, to get them healthcare. They are reported to immigration. They can go into immigration detention, and I think you all know how horrendous it is. Children do not belong to immigration detention, and it takes a long time. Although there is some statelessness mitigation, it's not being used. Okay, so that is where it comes from Malaysia. We are even talking about children of Malaysians, like children of a Malaysian man who is not married to the foreign woman, and it could be because maybe her passport was with the agent or something like that, and they don't have they don't get a citizenship, even if the mother is gone away, passed away, no access to that mother's citizenship, that child is stateless. If it happens with a woman, so then what happens is you have intergenerational statelessness, because even her marriage, if she gets married, that marriage won't be recognized because she does not have documents, you know. So even if she gets married to a Malaysian man, her child will be stateless again. Okay, so you go into intergenerational statelessness. What is the role of the embassy? There was a question on this. Maula asked this. Actually, these embassies will just send the documents back to the Putrajaya, the administrative capital. It can take anywhere from 2 to 5 years, and then the application is rejected. The mother will apply again, and it's rejected. At age 21, the child has no access to Malaysian citizenship and will be sent out of the country. Okay, this is a very sad state. So the embassy is not able to play any role in the citizenship of the children born overseas. They'll just accept the application of 15(2) and send it to the government at Putrajaya, to the National Registration Office in Putrajaya. And then the minister has the discretion. So far, I'll really give you statistics. 3,407 applications were put in for 5 years, from the last 5 years, and only 20 applications were approved. What is this, jackpot? What are we talking about? What happens to the remaining 3,000 children who will remain on a citizenship that was forced upon them, and they do not inherit their mother's citizenship? Okay, so that is, we're talking about the role of the embassy. I'll go to the High Court ruling. What did the government benefit? It really is something that even surprises us, you know, because there's someone who did the cost of statelessness, and it's a very heavy cost on the government, because if these children had access to education, access to healthcare, grew up in an environment where there was more inclusive, they would be contributing to the country and paying taxes, right? Instead of now, their mothers may be forced to migrate to another country, and Malaysia loses its brain drain. They've been saying that the country is experiencing brain drain, but they're not doing anything about it. So it's such a loss, really, for the country. The refugee rights of children. You know, we've been fighting for this for years. There are probably only 45,000 children of the school-going age, and if they had access to education and healthcare, again, they would become contributing citizens. But the government thinks that the floodgates will open, and right now there's a huge thing that they have even wanting to close the UNHCR offices, and everyone knows that UNHCR does a very thorough job of actually the refugee status determination. It takes years for a person to get determined as a refugee before, and they can be, you know, they at least have the UNHCR card. We don't know what's going to happen right now, and what process the new government will, you know, that will be formed is going to take on this. But it's a very sad situation for refugees, because children get detained even while going to school, you know, and detention centers are no place for children, and countries have to come to terms with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope that answers the questions.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you, Bina. Pertama saya terkait itu ya, peran kedutaan. Jadi peran kedutaan tidak punya peran khusus atau spesifik atau yang kuat, karena semua aplikasi yang masuk ke kedutaan harus diteruskan ke pemerintah Malaysia, pemerintahan pusat di Malaysia atau Putrajaya ya, dan akan perlu waktu 2-5 tahun untuk diproses, dan kemudian akan mendapat jawaban aplikasi ditolak. Jadi dan nanti kalau misalnya si anak sudah mencapai usia 21 tahun, dia dikenakan deportasi, atau ada beberapa proses juga sebelumnya. Jadi dideportasi ke manapun negara dia berasal. Misalnya untuk kasus anak tadi, mungkin dia akan kembali ke India atau ke Saudi Arabia, saya kurang tahu. Jadi untuk kasusnya ini ada sekitar 3.047 kasus aplikasi, dan 20%, hanya 20% yang di-approve. Jadi saat ini ada sekitar 3.000 anak yang stateless ya. Jadi terkait High Court, Mahkamah Agung, kenapa kok mementahkan, sebenarnya mementahkan kasus ya. Kalau Mahkamah Agung sudah menyepakati, tapi dimentahkan oleh pemerintah, yaitu registration office atau kependudukan. Nah, benefitnya apa pemerintah? Sebenarnya nggak ada benefit, karena justru kalau membuat si list atau daftar orang atau anak-anak yang stateless, itu biayanya lebih tinggi, karena mereka tidak bisa menjadi warga negara yang aktif, yang menjadi berkontribusi dengan baik di Malaysia, misalnya dengan membayar pajak dan mengurangi pengangguran dan lain sebagainya. Jadi sebenarnya cost-nya tinggi, bahkan Bina sendiri ketika terjadi penolakan itu juga sangat terkejut gitu loh. Kok setelah di-approve kok di cancel. Terkait untuk anak yang stateless tadi, saat ini di Malaysia juga banyak kasus, terutama untuk kasus-kasus stateless yang pengungsi ya. Sebenarnya Malaysia sangat khawatir kalau kemudian memproses atau bersikap lebih positif, ini akan membuka pintu untuk jumlah yang terlalu besar, jumlah pengungsi yang terlalu besar. Jadi kasusnya ini banyak juga kasus yang menyedihkan, anak-anak yang meskipun mereka pergi ke sekolah karena mereka statusnya stateless, jadi mereka pulangnya ke penjara. Jadi ini suatu situasi yang mengenaskan. Mereka tidak seharusnya ada di posisi, anak-anak terutama tidak semestinya berada di posisi seperti itu. Yang poin yang pokok yang disampaikan oleh Bina adalah karena itu pentingnya kita advokasi untuk meningkatkan jumlah decision maker atau kelompok pembuat keputusan itu perempuan atau feminis ya, atau berperspektif gender, karena soal yang menyangkut keluarga itu yang mengalami beban atau merasakan beban utama atau yang menanggung beban utama seringkali adalah perempuan, sehingga kalau tidak merasakan seperti atau yang ya meskipun tidak harus merasakan, tetapi perempuan diharapkan punya karena pengalaman-pengalaman langsung dengan permasalahan atau yang dialami oleh keluarga, sehingga kalau kita memiliki pejabat publik atau para pengambil keputusan atau decision maker perempuan atau yang berbasis gender, yang perspektifnya gender, yang pro perempuan, akan bisa memperbaiki situasi ini. Oke, saya kira itu ringkasan dari yang disampaikan oleh Bina atas jawaban dari pertanyaan teman-teman. Kalau ada lagi yang ingin ditanyakan bisa raise hand. Terus kemudian saya akan baca ini, mungkin kita let's do another one more round, Bina, if you don't mind, one more round for our questions. These are questions from Fania. Is there any possibility that religion give a contribution to the?
Mbak, itu aku terjemahin pertanyaannya Agnes.
Oh, pertanyaan Ibu Agnes. Oke, great. So sama aja kan ya? Oke. So these are questions about the contribution of religion related to the citizenship problem in Malaysia. Okay, another couple more. Is a comment about rights. Citizenship is a basic rights. So if we don't have that rights, that may ignore the rights of human being or full citizenship. Okay, it's another questions from Helma. She's a lecturer at the Banjarmasin. The Malaysian government can never explain the specific reason of the. Does the Malaysian government ever give the specific reason of the rejections from the court decision? Okay, so another question is a very good question also from Helma about what is the criteria that you have learned from the cases, successful cases? Are there any specific criteria of the case that are successful and the ones that are not? Now, the last one is from Yemima. Currently, the government does not offer a widow's visa. This is Yemima. Oh, Isa. It's Isa is answering Yemima's questions. Yeah. I think that's all.
Aisha is,
Ada lagi?
yeah, Aisha is a staff of Family Frontiers, and she's kindly helping to respond to some of the
Thank you,
questions.
Aisha. This is fantastic. We'll be more. I know. I just know this. Yes. So, ada lagi yang ingin? Silakan.
Yeah, I'm just happy to answering some of the question.
Thank you, Aisha.
You want to
Is
say anything, Aisha?
Is Burasida with us? No, I think she's not. Okay.
Okay.
Ada lagi?
Ada Mbak itu Kairani barusan nanya di kolom chat.
Raise hand. Oh, Bu Kairani, what is the status of these questions from Kairani? The status of Indonesian worker. Ini belum harus jelas Bu, Indonesian worker. So that's either men or women. So do they use this question? I'm not quite sure. It's like, do they need to to repeat the nikah or the marriage ceremony in Indonesia when they arrive in Indonesia? Oh, okay. Bu, pasangannya dua-duanya laki-laki, dua-duanya Indonesian pasangannya, atau yang laki atau yang perempuan? Oh, dua-duanya dari Indonesia. So this is like question. So what happened? Look, I mean, she probably has the information that even Indonesian workers, migrant workers both from Indonesia, and they got married in Malaysia, then do they need to repeat the ceremony or register the marriage to Indonesia? So I think that's not. Yeah, because. You know, would the marriage be recognized in Malaysia? I think that's the question. Thank you, Bina. I think that's all we have. Thank you, Bu Kairani.
So I'm not sure whether, it depends whether Indonesia has a system where the embassy, like Malaysia, has a system where the couple can go to the embassy and get the registration of marriage done. I'm not certain whether that is possible with the Indonesian embassy. Yeah, they will have to find out that. On the issue of widow's visa, there isn't any widow's visa. There is a widow's visa, but even if they have children, sometimes it does not come with the right to work. So how is that widow, going to raise her children if she is unable to work, right? Specific reasons for rejection is so basically we were told to go back to Parliament. That's one of the court said that we should go back to Parliament, because also that the word was specific in the Malaysian constitution that said father, and the court did not want to interpret the word as father should also include mother, right? The court said that we should go to the Parliament to get that change done. But when we go to Parliament, the Parliament said, this is not, the speaker just rejected the motion, and he said because the reason was given because of the Conference of Rulers, and we respect the Conference of Rulers, and we are hoping that the government would have actually had the courtesy to take their approval by now. Now, the third one is on even the applications that are rejected, the citizenship applications that are rejected, do not have any reasons for rejection. So the mothers do not know why their application is rejected. Many of them have Malaysian children. Many of them, their marriages are already registered in Malaysia, so there should be no reason for rejections, okay? Does religion contribute to this lack of access to citizenship? Every religion has this bond between the mother and the child. Every religion speaks of the mother and child bond. And so we believe that, and we have in our group Malays, Indians, and Chinese of different religions, different faiths, who are impacted by this discriminatory citizenship law. So yeah, so we are hoping that the law will be reformed. We never expected that women's rights are going to take so long to be reformed. Yeah, after all, it's the same right men enjoy. After all, the same right a child born in Malaysia enjoys. It should not be so difficult. That's what we thought, but it is proven otherwise. And we hope that the new government will actually support the reform.
So pada intinya untuk pasangan yang menikah di Malaysia itu, untuk pasangan Indonesia itu yang saya tahu pasti memang bisa mendaftarkan pernikahannya, itu bisa didaftarkan di kedutaan Indonesia yang ada di Malaysia. Kalau pasangannya dua-duanya dari Indonesia. Untuk pertanyaan terkait visa untuk janda, itu tidak ada visa untuk janda, terutama apalagi ini ada misalnya mereka janda tersebut punya anak, dan sementara si janda tidak punya, ibu yang janda tersebut tidak punya hak untuk bekerja. Jadi saya kira itu bermasalah juga karena keberadaan si ibu meskipun dia bisa yang punya anak dan tidak bisa bekerja karena stateless tadi. Untuk spesifik penolakan secara spesifik itu tidak ada alasan, karena memang secara di undang-undangnya masih menyatakan bahwa yang bisa mewariskan adalah ayah. Jadi karena itu diminta oleh pemerintah untuk ke parlemen dan oleh ketua di ketua komisi di DPR ditolak untuk saat ini. Oleh speakersnya ditolak, jadi masih memang belum ada kejelasan terkait pertanyaan apakah ada aspek agama dalam hal ini. Pada prinsipnya agama apapun itu selalu menjelaskan ikatan yang sangat kuat antara ibu dan anak, dan kelompok frontiers, family frontiers ini punya banyak mitra yang dari berbagai agama yang punya masalah yang sama. Jadi kasus-kasus yang dialami ini tidak hanya dari agama tertentu, dari banyak agama. Jadi sebaiknya segera terjadi perbaikan saja. Kalau masalah agama ini seharusnya juga tidak bisa atau tidak boleh menjadi aspek, karena pada prinsipnya semua agama mengatur bahwa atau kedekatan atau tanggung jawab utama pengasuhan seorang anak adalah ada di tangan seorang ibu. Oke, saya kira Bu Rasidah sudah hadir ya. Okay, saya kira I think that's all for tonight. Thank you so much, Bina, for all this really inspiring, and we have so lots of conversation, even though it's a lot of new information for many of us. And we strive to learn more about this, and and again looking at ourselves, we also have a lot of issue regarding the citizenship, and then it's true that there has been a lot of improvement, but there is also some of the issue that, for example, the limits for child with the nationality, and there are limits for their choice to determine their citizenship. Which one they want is 21. So that's also can be a complicated situation if they want to live in the places, one places with their parents and then another one with their family, other part of their family. So yes, with that I will thank you, Aisha, for helping us to make this discussion very smooth. And yeah, again, and I'm very grateful for having Bina here with us, and we all really appreciate and very looking forward for the next one for more discussion with you and other colleagues from India. Maybe again we'll have with Awam. So yes, with that we would like to thank you, Bina, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Feel free to connect with us anytime. Okay, thanks again. Have a good evening.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.